pick them up, you mean?
To pick them up and so we still going.
We can have lunch if you want.
I mean, it's up to you. It's up to David.
We don't have to go to Tilted Kilt if it'll make you uncomfortable.
Oh man, Tilted Kilt. No, we can't go there. I know half the wait staff.
Well, that's good.
No, no it ain't. No it ain't. That's the peas.
I guess I couldn't be a part of the group anymore. That's his name.
Yeah.
So.
That's a shame, man. You know, it really is.
I'm literally surprised they made him leave. I'm surprised they didn't tell him you just can't comment on it with these.
I don't think they made him leave. I think he just decided.
Well, yeah, he
In
wants
his contract.
he wants to do everything by the book. So.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Jen. I'm a driver operations manager who works out of Denver. And so I'm in charge of a lot of our new product launches. And so I'm here to tell you guys about cash. Cash payments are coming to Colorado Springs. We're super excited about it. We think it's going to be a great opportunity to unlock some brand new riders to Colorado Springs who have been previously too skeptical to try Uber in the past because of having to enter a credit card into the app. So we're really excited to tell you all about it. I'm going to ask you guys to save all of your questions until we get past the FAQs because I think I'm going to touch on a lot of the things that you're probably going to ask. There's going to be open Q&A at the end, so if you guys have any questions that I didn't cover, we can absolutely go through those too. Also, I will say, let's keep all of the questions for the group to just cash. If you guys have other things Colorado Springs related, I'll have a little bit of time after too, so we can chat through those things, but let's just save this exclusively cash stuff. Cool. So I'm going to just go over an overview of what the experience is going to look like in app. Again, like I said, cover the basic FAQs that we tend to hear most, and then open it up to any other questions that you guys have. So Cash is going to be launching in Colorado Springs this coming Tuesday, so the day after Martin Luther King Day. So basically it's going to be primarily a payment method for new riders. So really this is just going to unlock an opportunity for people like my parents, for instance, who were too skeptical to try Uber because of entering their credit card into the app, and just give them the chance to try Uber out. We'll prompt them right after their first trip to add a credit card. So really this is just a way for us to continue to grow the business for you guys in Colorado Springs and get you guys some more riders. So we're super excited about that. Safety, support, and transparency is going to look very similar, if not even better for Cash, just because we'll have dedicated resources to make sure that the Cash experience is really good for you guys. And then there's no need to carry change, which I'll go into in a little bit. So we're not super concerned about you guys having large sums of cash on hand at any given time. We've also already launched Cash in 150 cities internationally. So we have a ton of really great learnings that we've applied to this to make it an awesome product experience for both you guys and our riders. So now I'm just going to go through and show you guys a quick video of what the experience is going to look like. If you for some reason can't hear it in the back or anything like that, don't worry because I'm going to go through it step by step right after. So I'll be sure to cover everything that the video covers too.
Now there's a new way to get paid with Uber, cash payments. Just like with any other Uber trip, you'll navigate to your
We can't even hear it up here.
You don't need to carry change or do anything differently while driving. Once you arrive at your destination, tap the Collect Cash option in your driver app. Your app will show you the cost of the ride. Enter the amount of cash you receive from your rider. Most riders won't have exact change, but that won't slow you down. If a rider pays more than the cost of their trip, you won't provide change in cash. They'll receive their change as a credit on a future ride. That's all there is to it.
going to go through that step by step, break it down. Okay. So the first time you're going to see that you're on a cash trip is going to be when you get to the rider's destination to drop them off. Everything about the experience up until that point is going to look exactly the same for you guys in terms of just navigation and everything like that. So when you get to the rider's destination, you'll press collect cash, and this will basically open up this second screen where you'll see exactly how much the rider owes you after that trip. I'll also say that all of this is going to get sent out to you in an email, so like don't feel like you have to write everything down. You'll get this all after the fact too. But anyway, so the rider is going to know exactly how much they owe you based on this green screen. So it's going to include things like surge, any tolls, if they have any sort of discount, all of those things will be incorporated here. So once you get to this screen, you'll press next and enter the amount of cash that the rider actually gives you. So a lot of times we do not expect the rider's going to have exact change. So if they give you a $20 bill, you'll enter in $20 here. If the rider says like, hey, I insist that you keep that $2.10 as a tip, then you'll just enter in that $17.90 and keep that $2.10 as that tip that the rider's offering to give you. So if there's ever a situation where the rider doesn't have enough cash to pay you for the trip, don't worry about that. What we want you guys to do in that situation is just enter in the exact amount that it says on the rider pays screen, even if they end up not having enough. And then we want to just help you guys out with that on the support end. So there'll be a very easy way for you guys to write in and just say, my rider did not have sufficient cash to pay me for this trip. So you'll just click on that. We'll make sure you guys get easily refunded for that difference. We just don't want you guys to have to go through the process of having that conversation in the car with the rider about why they don't have enough cash or anything like that. So we're just trying to make it as seamless as possible for you guys. So then this is the screen where it's going to show you if, for instance, the rider gives you $20, that's the amount of change that is going to be credited to their Uber account, that $2.10. So basically, they can either use this as a credit on a future ride, which is exciting because it kind of incentivizes them to keep using Uber, or they can cash it out via PayPal. So it's super similar to you giving them change, but it's just making the experience way more seamless and easier for you guys so you don't have to carry change with you. You'll complete the trip as you normally would. It's just going to have this little section that says the amount of cash that you collected, and then again you'll just swipe to complete the trip.
I'm just blocking them off, please.
I'm sorry. Can you guys see that now? So yeah, so you'll just swipe to complete the trip as you normally would, and you'll be ready to go for regular trips or cash trips or whatever comes next. FAQs. So can I turn cash trips off? Yes. Cash is a totally optional experience for drivers in Colorado Springs. We want to make sure that it's something that drivers are using if they want that additional earnings opportunity, but not something they're required to do. So cash is something that you can easily turn on and off in your settings. So if you're not feeling it, it's totally optional. If you're not feeling it at a specific time of day, you can turn it on and off. Whatever you guys are comfortable with, this is really just an additional earnings opportunity for the people that want to participate. So again, if a rider leaves your vehicle without paying or doesn't have enough cash, don't worry about that. Like I said, just enter the amount that's showing on the rider pays screen, so that $17.90 in this case, and then there'll be a very easy section in support where you can go to navigate to any cash-related support issues and say, my rider did not have sufficient funds to pay for this trip. Uber will very quickly be able to get you guys refunded for that and make sure that you get the full amount that you were owed, even if the rider doesn't have enough cash on them at the time. We also don't expect this to be an issue because the rider is going to see the upfront fare before they even request cash. So they should know exactly what to expect in terms of how much they're going to owe you for that trip before they request. Is cash safe? Yes. So like I said, we've launched cash in 150 other cities internationally and have not seen any increase in safety incidents as a result of this. Really, we've just seen a ton of growth in these markets that have this new option for riders to use. We're also doing identity verification via mobile number, same safety features like GPS tracking, and all of those things will still exist with the cash experience. We also expect a very small amount of your trips to be cash because it's really just going to be a new rider tool so they can test out the Uber platform, see if they like it, and then add a credit card very shortly after that first trip. So we really don't expect you to have many cash trips at all, so you're never going to have a lot of cash on hand. know that we don't provide change? Yes. So there's going to be a very clear message before they're able to request that's a reminder that drivers do not give change. So this will explain to them that they're going to get that change as a credit, which they can either use towards a future Uber ride or cash out via PayPal, so they should not be expecting to receive any change from you guys. So how do service fees, incentives, and other payments work? So the way that I would describe how cash is going to impact your payments is it's just a little bit of your payments that Uber owes you every week that you're getting upfront in the form of cash. So if Uber at the end of the week owes you $200 with your service fees, your incentives, everything, and you get $50 upfront via cash, Uber's just going to pay you $150 at the end of the week for those other earnings that you received. It's basically just a portion of your earnings that you're getting in cash right away. So what will this look like on my payment statement? So it's going to be very easy to see which trips are cash. They'll just have a little green dollar sign next to them so you can very easily remember which of your trips were cash payments. Also, if there's ever a situation where a rider has like a promotion, for instance, and they get $5 off their trip, it'll be very clear in your payment statement how much the rider paid you in cash and then how much Uber still owes you for that trip if they had some sort of discount. So that'll be very clear in terms of the way that your payments are getting broken out. You'll also be able to see cash collected as a new line in your daily earnings. So it's just going to break it out between your total earnings on the Uber app and then the amount of earnings that you've already received in cash, just so that it's a very easy and clear thing for you to see. This is a very, very rare thing, which we do not expect to happen very much, but if there's ever a situation where in a given week you get more cash than your total earnings, that negative balance will just carry over into future weeks. So we'll just deduct that from future earnings that you make in a subsequent week. We do not anticipate this to be the case at all because such a small amount of your trips are going to be cash trips, but that's just something to know if you ever find yourself in that situation. Okay, what questions have I not answered? Yeah?
I've got one, I don't know if you've heard any feedback for this, but instead of going an extra step if someone doesn't have enough cash, let's say the fee is $15 and they give you 10 and say I don't have any more, rather than putting in the $15 and then going to that additional step, why couldn't you make it so that you put in 10 so Uber knows right then and there that the customer shorted you and then they can work it out from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that the cash experience was set up is that we actually don't allow the steps in the process to continue unless you enter that same amount on the rider pay screen. And since I'm an engineer, I don't necessarily know why that decision was made. I'm sure that there was reasoning, but if you don't enter the same amount or more as the amount that the rider owes you, it won't allow you to kind of continue through the steps and complete your trip. So the reason that we ask drivers to just enter in that amount is so that you guys can get on with your day and can continue driving and not get held up if the app thinks that you entered the incorrect amount and they're not going to let you proceed. So that's great feedback. I think in terms of just making sure that it's as seamless as possible and that you don't have to have any tough conversations with your rider or that an experience like that doesn't work out, we just want you to write into support about that so we can get it resolved as quickly as possible. We also just don't anticipate it to be that big of an issue because the rider's going to know exactly how much they owe you before they even request their trip, so they should be prepared. But I know that there will be cases where riders just aren't.
Is that a unique question or have you heard that before?
So that's one that we've kind of heard different versions of.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if the rider pays us less, we enter the amount for a tip.
Exactly.
And then we support and tell them they pay for $5 more.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so if he gives you more than the trip, do you enter the more amount?
Yes. So it's a couple scenarios. So if your trip is $17.90 and the rider gives you $20, you would enter the $20 and they would get that $2.10 as change. If the rider was like, I insist, I really want you to keep this $2.10 as a tip, then you would enter in that $17.90 and you would just keep that $2.10 as that tip.
Okay, and if it's less than $17.90, if he gives you 10 or 15,
Then you enter $17.90.
why don't you just have a thing where you can just hit a fair amount instead of having to enter in the number 17.90?
Good question. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know why they set it up that way. I think it's just to make sure that you guys are in control of the situation. You can enter exactly how much you receive, and that there's no, I don't know. We just wanted to be a situation where the drivers are very much in
Yeah,
control of
I think
exactly how much they're entering.
Interfere amount, just hit
Yeah.
the button, say interfere amount, you know?
Yeah, that's good feedback. The other thing that I'll note is that within like the in-app help section under cash, where you can go in and give feedback on if you received not enough money, there's just going to be a section too where you guys can give open feedback about ideas that you have about the cash experience, like the things you guys have mentioned, so that our team can kind of take that information and apply it to kind of our rollout. So since you guys are the first ones, this is definitely something where we still want to make sure we're like listening to you guys and learning from your experience. So feel free to give any open feedback that you have in the app too.
We have a lot of room.
Yeah.
So this goes in the cash is during surges too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and then I'll just explain how much it was.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll just break it down very clearly. Like this amount was because of surge, and this amount was because of just the regular fare.
Do you guys have a maximum amount that a driver can accept in cash?
We do not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've noticed quite a few drivers lately that are fraudulent and are fraudulent riders in the way that they're underage. A lot of underage riders are getting accounts, and they're 15, 16-year-old girls, and they're requesting rides at 2, 3 in the morning. How is Uber going to? Is there any way that Uber is going to have riders' accounts flagged for fraudulent activity?
Yeah, I think if
regarding
there are situations where you get a ride from a rider who's underage, that's something that you can write into support about anytime, not just related to cash trips. But then we're able to note that on the account and make sure that we contact the owner of that account, because it's probably like their mom or something, or a parent who would have set that up for them, and just make sure that they're aware of our terms that you have to be 18 or over.
Right, but that was an example for the cash system. So on the cash system, somebody is constantly shorting the driver on the cash amount.
Yes, so yeah, I mean, that's a situation where if a rider continues to use the cash experience and is continuing to pay less and less, I mean, Uber takes actions on those types of incidences and would just kind of remove access for that user from the platform. Yep. Yeah.
Jen, you mentioned that this is envisioned for new Uber clients.
Yeah.
Is there a restriction on the number of times that they can use cash?
Nope. So I think we anticipate that like 80 to 90% of people who use Uber first with cash, we're going to send them an email automatically after that first cash trip that prompts them to enter a credit card now that they've experienced the app and kind of trust the experience a little bit more. So we anticipate about 80 to 90% of people are going to add that credit card. That being said, there's no restriction on if someone only wants to use cash forever on the Uber platform, that's an option for them, but we don't anticipate many people are going to do that.
So as a follow-on, will existing Uber clients now be presented with the opportunity to utilize cash?
Yeah, so in terms of the existing user piece, it's going to be an option for them in their payment methods. So if they want to go into their payment method and switch to cash, they can do that. We do not anticipate a lot of people are going to do that, just because the reason most riders who are already riders love the experience is because of that seamless, just get out of the car when it's done type of thing, but it's an option if they do want to. Yeah.
Please, you asked one question about existing, but comment on when you say, pretty surprised how many riders people don't want their cash.
Well, that's great then. I mean, so it'll be an option for them. If there are a lot of people that really wish that they had that option, that'll be something that they can switch over to. Yeah.
You tell them about the option of you can pay cash or just
Yes.
credit?
Yeah, so it'll be, I mean, we've done a press release with the Gazette already. It's something that we're going to be definitely kind of spreading the word about. I think we're being a little bit strategic about how broad of an announcement we make, because we want to make sure that it's a great experience for you guys before we tell everybody and their mom about it. So it's going to be something that I think primarily we can communicate to new riders to start, just because they're going to be our most common people who want to use cash, and then we'll kind of spread the word and tell as many of our riders as we can if we make sure that it's a good experience for you guys.
Yeah, a follow-up, like if they don't know about paying cash or if they're Google, can they opt to pay cash either way, even if they don't know if they have a set up a cash account?
Yes, it'll be an option just for them in the app. The other thing about the cash experience is that You can't switch over from cash to credit in the middle of a trip. So if you request a ride and you've selected that your payment method is your credit card, you can't change your mind and switch to cash in the middle of the trip. It's something that the rider's just gonna have to choose before they even request, because we don't want that to be a confusing experience.
So that's your method of payment to start with?
Correct. So it's your method of payment, and you can change that as soon as the trip is over if you're a rider. It's just not something that you're going to be able to change in the middle of the trip. Yeah.
You don't implement a payment plan where they can accept credit cards.
Say that again?
Why don't you have a plan where you can accept credit cards?
What do you mean accept credit cards?
You have the app where it's all paid through the app.
Yeah.
You can't give the driver a credit card. Why don't you have that?
I think it's just not as seamless as the kind of the way that the Uber experience was set up. I mean, a driver having to process a credit card payment, issue a receipt, that's just not what the Uber experience is all about. So I think that's just the way that.
The experience is all about making money. That's makes more money, is it? Rather than getting on the app and having them sign up through the app and their credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason that we're giving people the cash option is kind of to solve that experience for people who don't want to enter their credit card information into the app. Then they can just pay with cash, and then if they're a more tech